Have you ever noticed how people sometimes rush to help you before you've even asked? Maybe they speak a little louder than necessary, or they grab your arm when you stand up, even though you're perfectly steady. And you're left thinking, I'm not fragile, so why am I being treated like I am? If that feeling sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many capable, strong, sharp seniors are quietly being labeled as frail, not because they actually are, but because of a few everyday habits that send the wrong signal to the world. Today, I want to talk with you about something that rarely gets discussed honestly. Not diseases, not age itself, but habits. Small, subtle behaviors that can make others assume you're weaker, less capable, or more dependent than you truly are. And the most important part is this: these habits are changeable. You don't need to become someone else, and you certainly don't need to pretend to be young. You just need awareness and a few gentle shifts that can completely change how you're seen, and, just as importantly, how you feel. Over the course of this conversation, we'll walk through 6 common habits that quietly give off a frail impression, even in seniors who are mentally sharp and physically capable. This isn't about blame, it's about empowerment. Because the moment you recognize these habits, you can begin to take control back in small, practical ways that fit your life. Let's ease into the first one because it's incredibly common and often misunderstood. One habit that quickly makes people assume frailty is moving through the world in a rushed, hesitant way. You might recognize this: standing up quickly but then pausing, as if you're unsure of your balance. Walking with short, cautious steps even when the ground is flat and safe. Reaching for furniture or walls automatically, not because you need to, but because it feels safer. To an outsider, these movements can look like instability, even if inside you feel fine. The truth is, many seniors adopt these patterns after a single scare. Maybe you tripped once, maybe you felt dizzy one morning, or maybe someone warned you, "Be careful, don't fall." Over time, your body learns caution even when danger isn't present, and while caution isn't bad, constant hesitation sends a message of weakness to others, and, more subtly, to your own mind. A simple shift can make a big difference. Instead of rushing or freezing, slow down with purpose. When you stand, plant your feet firmly, straighten your back, and rise in one smooth motion. When you walk, let your steps be deliberate and confident, not hurried. Confidence isn't about speed, it's about intention. When people see you move with calm assurance, they sense strength, even if you're moving more slowly than you once did. Now, there's another habit that plays a surprisingly large role in how frail someone appears, and it has nothing to do with muscles or balance. It has to do with posture. Many seniors don't realize how much posture shapes perception. Rounded shoulders, a tilted head, or looking down at the ground while walking can instantly make someone appear tired, weak, or withdrawn. Often, this posture develops gradually. Years of reading, using phones, working at desks, or simply trying to rest the body can cause the chest to collapse inward and the neck to lean forward. What's fascinating is that posture doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you feel. When you slump, your breathing becomes shallow, your voice softens, your energy drops, and people unconsciously interpret that as frailty. You don't need to stand like a soldier, that's not the goal. Instead, think gentle alignment. Lift your chest slightly, as if there's a string pulling you upward from the top of your head. Let your shoulders relax back and down. When you sit, place both feet on the floor and sit tall rather than sinking into the chair. These small adjustments can make you look more alert, more capable, and more present within minutes. As we talked about these habits, you might notice something important. None of them mean you are frail. They simply create an impression. And impressions matter because they shape how others treat you and how much independence they think you can handle. Now that we've explored how movement and posture quietly influence perception, there's another habit that plays an even deeper role, one that involves the way we speak about ourselves and our abilities, and that's where we'll continue next. There's a habit many people fall into without realizing it, and it's one of the most powerful signals of all. It isn't visible, like posture or movement, but people pick up on it instantly. It's the way you talk about yourself. Little phrases like, "I'm too old for that," or "My memory isn't what it used to be," or even joking comments like, "You know how seniors are." On the surface, these words may seem harmless, even humorous, but over time, they quietly shape how others see you and how you see yourself. When you regularly downplay your abilities, people begin to believe you can't handle much. They stop asking your opinion. They stop inviting you to participate. They step in before you've had a chance to try. And what started as a casual comment turns into a pattern where others assume fragility even when you're fully capable. What's tricky is that this habit often comes from humility or self-awareness, not weakness. You may simply be acknowledging that things have changed, but there's a big difference between being realistic and constantly shrinking yourself with words. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible with technology," you might say, "I'm still learning this." Instead of, "I can't do that anymore," you might say, "I do that differently now." These small shifts don't deny reality. They frame it in a way that keeps your strength visible. People tend to follow the story you tell about yourself. When your words carry confidence and openness, others respond with respect rather than concern. And just as important, your own mind begins to believe that story too. Closely connected to this is another habit that can quietly make you appear frail, automatically accepting help when you don't truly need it. Someone reaches for your grocery bag and you hand it over without thinking. Someone offers to fill out a form for you and you step aside. Someone insists on driving you everywhere and you agree, even though you're perfectly able. Over time, these small moments add up. People start to assume you always need assistance, and the more they help, the less opportunity you have to show what you can still do. This doesn't mean you should refuse help when you genuinely need it. Accepting support is part of being human at any age. The key is choice. There's strength in saying, "I've got this, thank you," with a smile. There's confidence in doing tasks at your own pace, rather than handing them off automatically. Even pausing for a second before accepting help can change the dynamic. That pause says, "I'm capable, and I'm choosing what I need." It keeps you in control of your independence, instead of letting it slowly slip away. Another habit that often goes unnoticed is withdrawing socially in subtle ways. Not isolating completely, but speaking less in group settings, letting others dominate conversations, avoiding sharing opinions because it feels easier to listen than to speak. Over time, this quiet presence can be mistaken for confusion, lack of interest, or low energy. Many seniors pull back socially because they don't want to interrupt, repeat themselves, or feel like a burden. But silence is often interpreted incorrectly. When people don't hear your voice, they assume there's less to say. When they don't see your engagement, they assume there's less awareness. Staying socially visible doesn't require being loud or talkative. It can be as simple as asking a thoughtful question, making eye contact, or sharing a short comment during a conversation. Even a gentle nod paired with a clear response shows presence and engagement. These moments remind others that you're mentally active and emotionally connected, which strongly counters the image of frailty. What's powerful here is how interconnected all these habits are. The way you move, the way you hold yourself, the way you speak, the way you accept help, and the way you show up socially all send messages. None of these messages are permanent, they're adjustable, and the adjustments don't require dramatic changes, only awareness and intention. As you become more mindful of these everyday patterns, you may start noticing how people respond differently. They may wait instead of rushing in. They may ask instead of assuming. They may see you as capable rather than vulnerable. And perhaps most importantly, you may start feeling more grounded and confident in your own body and voice. There are still a couple of habits left to explore, ones that are deeply tied to energy, expression, and how you show up emotionally in the world. And as we move forward, the focus stays the same, not on changing who you are, but on letting your strength be seen more clearly, without strain or pretense. Another habit that quietly shapes how frail someone appears has to do with energy, not physical strength. It's the habit of constantly appearing tired, even when you're not. This can show up as frequent sighing, sitting back with eyes half closed, or speaking in a low, drained voice. Sometimes it comes from genuine fatigue, but just as often it's a learned way of conserving energy or expressing stress. To others, though, it can look like weakness or decline. Energy is something people sense instantly. When your movements are slow, your face looks heavy, and your voice lacks lift, people assume you're struggling. One gentle way to counter this is through small, intentional moments of alertness. Take a full breath before you speak. Sit or stand upright when someone enters the room. Let your face show interest, even if you're listening quietly. These actions don't require more energy. They simply direct the energy you already have in a visible way. You may notice that when you engage your body like this, your mind follows. Your voice becomes clearer, your thoughts feel sharper, and the people around you respond with more respect and attentiveness rather than concern. The final habit I want to talk about is one that many seniors adopt for comfort, not realizing how strongly it affects perception. It's the habit of blending into the background, wearing the same loose, muted clothing every day, avoiding eye contact, keeping expressions neutral to avoid drawing attention. None of these are wrong, but together they can make someone seem invisible, and invisibility is often mistaken for frailty. Presence matters, and presence isn't about flashy clothes or bold behavior. It's about showing that you are here, aware and engaged with the world around you. A simple change in color, a well-fitted shirt, or a familiar accessory can signal vitality. Looking up when you walk into a room, meeting someone's eyes when they speak, allowing your face to show emotion, these things quietly communicate strength. As we bring all of this together, something important becomes clear. Frailty is not defined by age. It's defined by signals. Signals sent by habits, posture, words, and behaviors that accumulate over time. The good news is that signals can be changed. Not all at once, not perfectly, but gently, intentionally, in ways that honor who you are today. If even one of these habits resonated with you, that's not a criticism. It's an invitation to notice, to adjust, and to reclaim the way you're seen and the way you feel. Small shifts in how you move, speak, accept help, engage socially, carry your energy, and show up visually can completely change the story others tell about you. You've lived long enough to know that confidence doesn't come from pretending nothing has changed. It comes from adapting with grace, from standing a little taller, choosing your words with care, and allowing yourself to be visible without apology. If this conversation sparked a thought or reminded you of a moment where you felt misunderstood or underestimated, I'd love for you to share that in the comments. Your experiences matter, and they often help others feel less alone. And if you found this helpful, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We share these conversations regularly, all focused on living with clarity, dignity, and independence at every stage of life. No matter your age, your presence has weight, your voice has value, and your strength deserves to be seen. Here's to living fully, confidently, and authentically, exactly where you are.